So first up, get your corner staked, get your strings up. I like to use my transit to get my height. I like to run my strings at the right height, finished floor height, just so I know my elevations. That's going to be really important when you're getting the height of your post or your wood poles. Also, part of the first step, while I'm getting everything laid out, I'll have the guys go ahead and start drilling the dowel holes at the bottom of the post. That's what they're doing here. In this particular case, we have a dowel going in at 6 inches and a dowel going in at 15 inches. Well, you can see it better here. So they're transverse, one's going this direction, one's going that direction. 6 inches and 15. That is, so it'll receive rebar, and the rebar at the bottom of the pole will get poured with concrete all the way around the pole, and that rebar will help hold it in both directions. I'll show you more of that later. I like to do this also as part of step one. We'll go ahead and start building our trusses. As you can see, this whole entire building is just this little bit of material sitting here. It's a 60 by 40, I'm sorry, it's a 40 by 60 with 2 lean-tos on it. And we take the material and we start shaking everything out, make sure we have everything, and we start putting the trusses together. They just bolt together right here in the center. One thing you have to really think about is what trusses go where, or what rafters go where. In this case, these are open web trusses, and you always make sure you have gable trusses set aside from your intermediate trusses. So the way you can tell a gable truss in this particular case is you have one clip on one side. The intermediate trusses have a clip on both sides. That way they can be braced off in both directions. The gable trusses, obviously, you're only going to brace them in one direction because the other side of the truss will be outside of the building. Now I want to take a second to talk about the auger bits for the poles, for the holes for the poles. So this is a 24 inch and this one over here is a 36 inch. Now it's going to be important that we have both of them because we have 2 different sized poles going in the ground here. Now in this particular engineering that we have for these types of buildings, we have 2 different hole sizes. Anything that's 30 feet and below in width, we can use a 24 inch. Since this one is 40 feet wide, we have to use a 36 inch hole, so a 36 inch auger bit. Now I wanted to talk about the placement when you get started with these things, because it's really important, especially on the 24 inch, because you don't have much room around the post. So you want to make sure that you're coming off 4 inches in both directions on the corner for the center of your 8 by 8. 4 inches and 4 inches, that'll put you to the center. So you want to mark this area right here, dead on where it goes. That gives you enough room all the way around the post, and it allows you to be able to put the post right in the corner. Now if you come way back over here and you drill, especially on the 24 inch auger, you're going to limit yourself from being able to get to this corner. So the same thing here, we mark our 20 feet or wherever our poles are going to go. We come off 4 inches, and that's where we drop our auger. All right, so we've got the holes dug with the auger. So we want to make sure we have the bottom of the holes nice and flat, because we set our posts right down in there. We want to make sure we have at least 4 feet there in this case. Here's a quick tip. Make sure you tie a knot in the string that's easy to take off. So I like to put a loop in it and a knot so the loop doesn't draw tight, because these strings, we take them off, we put them on and we take them off, and then we put them back on whenever we get done drilling. So we get everything squared up, all the strings on, and then we take them off so that way we can drill the holes without snapping our strings. We put them right back. But if you tie them hard to the post or to your stake, they're hard to get off. Okay, next step, I lost count of the steps, so this is the next step. Make sure that your base at the bottom of your hole is very level and compacted. Now, if this wasn't super hard lime rock, we would put 57 stone in the bottom of the hole, or we'd put concrete, or even just a bag of concrete down there to set the pole on top of. But whatever you're using, make sure it's nice and hard and level, because the post is going to go right on that. I'm going to show you guys how we cut cut these posts before we ever set them, and we'll have the correct height. I'll explain that real quick. So in order to get your posts cut the right height before you set them, you have to use your transit or your laser level. And so think of it as that's just giving us a straight line that's level all the way across here. I measure down into each one of these holes, and I get a number for each one of those from my line. I also know what my finished floor elevation is from the line, the level line to my finished floor. So if I have a benchmark, which is my level line laser, and I know what it is from there to my finished floor, which is the strings in this case, and I know what it is from that line to my bottom of my hole. That's all I need to cut my posts. So I draw a little schematic, excuse it, it's a little cartoonish, but it has the holes in order, number, and you can see the measurement to the bottom of the hole next to each one of them. And I'll show you how that works when I measure it on the post. For this example, we're doing hole number 3. So I'll write number 3 down here at the bottom on the base of the post. That's going to be covered, so I don't have to worry about that marker showing on the post. And that's number 3. That's my hole number 3. You can see that I have it at 7 foot 0 3/8 of an inch. So I hook my tape at the bottom. I come up here. I make a mark at 7 foot 0 3/8 of an inch. That's what I have. So that number, 7 foot 0 3/8 of an inch, represents my level line, my laser on that transit. So that's what that mark is there. Now I also know that I'm 23 1/4 inches from that line down to my finished floor. So all I have to do then is move my tape to 23 1/4 inches. That's from my level line, my known point, down to my finished floor. From my finished floor, I'm 10 foot up to my eave height. I'll mark 10 foot right there. That's what I've done on these. We'll cut them off. Well, good morning. We're back here in Webster, Florida again. We had a little bit of technical difficulty yesterday, so we left early, but came back this morning, got our posts in, and we're starting on the trusses now. Just wanted to walk you through what we've got going on. I was able to put all of our clips at the top on the post. We installed those on the ground, and we used those to brace the posts going this way. We used brace posts or braces going off in the other direction to hold those up. Now we're installing our truss. We had to put a stiff back on that truss just to keep it straight. One thing I want to point out here is on this particular truss, on this particular building, we have angle iron at the top, a little piece of 18 gauge rather, angle, and that flushes with the post down there. And that's going to be what we screw the top of our wall panel to. And right now we're getting that brace. We've got a string down here, so we know that we're exactly on the edge, and we're shooting the laser from that string up, and that's how we're getting that plumb. Welcome back. We're on this 40 by 60 pole barn, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Z purlins. So the Z purlins, you're going to find those in a lot of applications: pole barns, red iron buildings, industrial, whatnot. One thing you got to keep in mind is they have to nest. Okay, so there's going to be a bigger ledge and a smaller ledge. So the bigger ledge, what we do is we put the larger side down on the first bay. The next bay, the larger side goes up. So that way they can fit inside nice and easy. If you don't do that,